Hey everyone. Okay, so not gonna lie, this chapter starts off kind of random in my mind with Getten, the hooded ice villain from the Liberation Army, and Compress talking to each other from their cells, where it's revealed he's one of the Himura clan, the family Rei belonged to before marrying Endeavor. Although it's through that conversation that it finally revealed, I guess, the real reason why the Himura were so eager to marry Rei off to Endeavor, which is, in simple terms, they were dying off. It's one of those absolutely stupid, prideful things where they believe so much in their pride and superiority as a clan, they engage in the usual fucked up practice of keeping everything within the clan, including marrying off branch members to sire children. Of course, again, in typical fashion of cases like this, history can be cruel, and human beings never seem to learn that fucking truth. So, in this practice, the clan started dying off. Go figure. Leading to the current circumstances of the Todoroki family. So it's kind of interesting how right from the beginning, very beginning, with Rei's family, tragedy was already pretty much a meal that was served as the mantra of the Todoroki family as a whole. No matter what side it's from, tragedy is the ultimate name of the game with this family. And oh my god, this family needs counseling. Which I guess you could say does make this generation of the family with Shoto and even Endeavor's turn of wanting to genuinely change all the more impactful in their effort to finally break that curse up until the final page of this chapter, where Endeavor was willing to sacrifice everything to atone for what he had done and how he abandoned Toya. It's in this chapter, I like how he is genuinely willing to sacrifice himself to protect the ones he loves. With that said, let's talk about Rei's intervention at the end of this chapter, because I'm not going to lie, while I am very happy with how my prediction turned out, with Rei jumping in to save and to stop Toya, I'm also a little conflicted on it now, because on one hand, the build-up for Endeavor to make his sacrifice within the chapter was great. No regrets, no hesitation. Endeavor was ready to go out with Toya. So Rei jumping in, it does feel like it undercuts the moment a little bit, but at the same time, I think there is a much stronger argument you could make. You could make that the theme of this entire battle amongst the Todorokis, and especially to save Toya, and especially in this chapter, is all about putting an end to the cursed legacy of the Todoroki, and that means, and for better or for worse, however it ends up, that means saving Toya from himself, even if by the end of this, he still hates the family he was born into, Rei and Enji refuse to let Toya go a second time. They want to save him. They're here to fix their mistakes, and they, at the very least, want to look their son in the eye and show him they have changed. They're here from that the family is trying to move forward. So in that sense, it does work. The big thing, though, that I do worry about, and that I hope Horikoshi already understands, is how this landing is gonna stick. Because the thing about it right now is Horikoshi has got everything perfectly in place. All the pieces are more or less on the board, unless he plans more or less on the board. The only question is how he handles the resolution that I'm worried about. And because whatever happens with Toya, whether he remains bitter at his family or forgives them, Horikoshi can't just have them walk away into the sunset. Toya's done far too much for it to be just a thing where he gets off scot-free without jail time or something to that effect. Toya, however much he may still resent the family, or how much he may emotionally repent for his sins, he's still got to face the consequences of those actions, and it's about how Horikoshi does it that is going to matter to me, I think, right now. I guess the only other thing to take note of within this chapter is we see Toya's ice abilities awaken, I guess, as he keeps burning up, and honestly, I don't have a lot to say on that other than wondering how that's going to play into the final stretch of this fight, because based off the final pages of this chapter, it looks like Horikoshi's about ready to wrap this up, but with Toya's ice abilities awakened, we might see him make one final desperate push, but in either case, I hope these are all signs that Horikoshi is finally bringing this whole Todoroki affair to a definitive conclusion. Because while I haven't hated this whole thing with Toya, there are aspects to it where it feels like Horikoshi has dragged it on a little longer than what's necessary. And at this point, I'm not really expecting. I don't know, like I'm not expecting Fuyumi and Natsu to jump into the fray, or at least not until maybe the final clutch moments. Like the only thing that might feel a little out of place, depending on how Horikoshi plays this out, is this possibly ending without Shoto. But actually, I guess the more I think about it, this, even though it might be a little bit of a drag, even though it might turn into a little bit more of a dragged out affair, I think Horikoshi might kind of just drag this out a little bit longer in order to actually just to allow Shoto to reunite with his siblings, and then they gather together with their parents for one big Todoroki ice blast, or just the whole thing of like a family reunited in order to finally put an end to Toya's rampage. Like that kind of feels like what's happening here. It's just a matter of how many chapters it'll take until we reach that point between Shoto and Ida going to save them, and how long Rei and Endeavor can hold off Toya, I guess. But yeah, I think that's more or less how I can kind of perceive this. I don't know, like this is kind of, again, the whole thing is kind of dragged out a little long for me to fully make a conclusion of how this is going to end. But yeah, I hope he's at least working on how he's going to bring this to an end now. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much all I got for this review. If you enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, Analyst Crunchyroll. Be sure to notification bell, hit the subscribe button, and just share the video around, guys. Dark Knight of NA signing off. Later, everyone.